that point, we also kind of pivoted a little bit to try and bring on some guests as well as provide information ourselves to you guys. And so last week, Tim did a great job on underwriting. If you want to go view that, it is posted um, to our YouTube page, so you can go see that, watch that whole thing through. We also provided documentation on how to underwrite. The week before that, we went through some debt. We had a couple debt guys on in a row. We also brought on some folks when it comes to property management. So walking through the process, the property management team that we use. So we're always trying to bring you something. And so today we are excited to talk about capital raising. And I brought on a friend and partner, Jake Sisk. Jake and I have partnered on an RV park. We've worked on other deals together, and gosh, probably known you for at least 3+ years over the time through the grant group.
Mhm.
And we're excited to have him on to really kind of talk about capital raising in 2026 because it is extremely difficult. It was difficult for us. And he's going to kind of talk a little bit about that. And so I'll turn it over to you, Jake.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you,
Introduce
Jason.
yourself.
Um, a lot of a lot of you have seen me and our partner Matt Teifke owns that RV park with Jason and I in Arkansas together. Um, I do a lot of numbers, a lot of operation, um, back end work for Matthew Teifke. We own multiple deals together. Um, Matt started off as a mentor. He's become a great friend, great partner of mine. So if anybody is familiar with Matt, him and I run a community on Thursday afternoons, which is also free, much like these Friday night calls. And it's a way for us to, like Jason mentioned, it's just very oversaturated with these big events and all this information and courses and knowledge. And the more we can kind of just give back to the ecosystems and communities that Jason and myself, along with Matthew, are part of, the better position that we'll be in too, because everyone around us is partnering more and we're able to be more fruitful and do more deals. Um, Over the years, I do this full time, by the way. This is the only career I know. I've been doing this since I was an undergrad student in college. Um, I've since bought $10 million of real estate. I've personally raised over 2 million myself. Um, Anyone who knows Matt's story as well, he's raised almost 20 million between him and his company, TR3. And I've helped take over a lot of these smaller deals that are maybe too small for big syndications, and now we buy them as joint ventures. Matt and I will partner with different people in different markets, and just want to help more people own real estate in this commercial real estate sector. So that call, I mean, I think I was on a few months ago, Jason, but last time I was on, if anyone remembers, we have Thursday 2 p.m. call. It's free for anyone who's out on Friday nights and it's tough, and we'll do a Thursday call just in case you're home at 2 p.m. on a Thursday.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there's calls that cover the entire week, Monday through
Yep.
Friday. So if you need that list, I have that list.
Yep. Yep. So, if you want to ask more questions, talk to me more on there. I'll put my LinkedIn in the chat here too in a bit. But best way to reach me is on LinkedIn. Talk to Matt and I on those calls. Matt's currently flying back from Miami. He just had a 2 hour podcast with Grant Cardone, which is kind of cool. That'll be released soon. But yeah, that's kind of what we do. I now run point on a lot of these joint venture capital raising deals. And I've learned a lot from Matt and his team over the years. And now we've expanded to doing this completely in-house, raising capital, property management, um, putting together syndication documents, funds, whatever we need. So I could share my screen, Jason, if you'd like. We could do a visual of just,
That'd be
I'm not
great.
going to read off the slide. If anyone has been on any of the calls that we do on Thursdays or Sundays, we we kind of just talk and ask questions and make Q&A, but I want to give just a basic outline for everyone to follow. So let me share my screen here. if I can. Um, Give me one second. Do I have access to share, Jason?
You should.
Okay.
Should be right in the bottom.
Yep, I see it.
Technology. You're a young guy, man. This should be easy for you, man. The old people like myself can't find the stuff on the bottom.
Um, all right. So what I'm going to share with you guys here. Okay. Everyone can see this? Good. Thumbs up in a chat, or I can see you guys, your screens. Perfect. All right. So, one of the things that has been challenging, if you guys have noticed or not, in 2026 is there's a lot of capital on the sidelines. All the dry powder that was available during COVID when interest rates were lower, a lot more buying power, cap rates were lower. It was a lot easier to buy different deals because capital was ready to be deployed. You were getting interest rates that, depending on what type of product you were buying, it could have been high 2%, could have been 3%, 4%, at the high end 5. So that gives you a lot more buying power and a lot lower risk in theory, right? To buy some of these deals. What happened was all of those deals are now coming due. We're buying deals that are worth the debt, worth the note, and the cost of the loan back in, say, 2019 to 2022. A lot of owners, a lot of operators got stuck, and we're now in a position to buy those. So we're in a different time in the market where we're paying somewhere between, I don't know, up to 8%, even if you're going to look at bridge loans, construction loans, depending on what the product is. What we've seen recently, there's been a couple rate cuts towards the end of the year last year that made a slight difference. So, maybe you can get that high fives right now, mid fives, if you do what's called you can buy the rate down and get a rate lock to make sure it doesn't fluctuate. And I'll explain all these terms once we're done here, but we're in a different market. Like it's a lot harder to raise capital, interest rates, less deals are getting done, there's less buyers. This has been the hardest year to raise capital. Jason, you could probably touch on this too, but it is harder to raise capital right now than 5, 6 years ago if I was having this presentation with y'all. This will not last forever. Markets are still cyclical, right? But that doesn't mean that you can't buy great real estate right now if you have the right implementation, the right resources in place. So for us, we've noticed that there's not a lot of investors who are excited about syndications right now. They don't want to see the 20% IRR is a projection, right? It's pro forma. That is what we're shooting for, right? We want to find a way to get everyone their money back at the 2x equity multiple, the 6 to 8% cash on cash, maybe 5 on a newer product, 4 or 5 year one, right? But a lot of people got burned, including the banks, including debt, including mortgage companies. And they're not only are they lending less, but they want to see bigger balance sheets. It's harder for us to sign on certain debts, certain loans. And that's creating a lot of hesitancy, not only to invest, but in this market right now, it's there's a lot of uncertainty. And when people have uncertainty, they freeze. And when you freeze and there's an action, you don't make a decision. And when you don't make a decision, it's going to be very hard to raise capital because people don't want to deploy their money. And this is not just for raising capital from fund to funds, high net worth individuals, self-directed IRAs. I'm also referring to banks and lenders. There are great deals that we've been bringing to lenders that we have worked with or brought deals to in the past that are now passing on these transactions because their balance sheets are different. The DSCR requirements are higher on some of these deals. You need more experienced partners, more experienced key partnerships, and it's making it difficult to raise capital. So I say all this not to scare anybody, because I will explain some of the ways we're getting around this. Um, so this is just my intro. I'm sure a lot of you guys are seeing this, especially if you've been in the industry for a long time. But 2025 and 2026 were rough, and it's still rough. but there's still great deals to be had. So what's worked for us is we establish credibility early on, whether it's connecting with an owner, connecting with a broker or brokerage and their teams, cold calling previous investors that we have on our list. This is kind of cool, but Matt has a list that he's been accumulating since I was um, 6 years old, and it's just real estate professionals and people he's met at conferences and people he met when he was first buying real estate at 18 years old. And this list has 18,000 contacts on it. All these people he's either met, exchanged a blank card, or tapped phones. And these are people that we'll reach out to and say, hey, like, you haven't invested with anything we've done yet, or maybe they've signed up to be on some of our calls, and we'll connect with them. And a lot of times it takes 6 or 7, maybe 8 points of contact to actually get an investor to invest with you. And this goes back to credibility. Like the more you're in the space, the more brokers know you, the more these communities and other investors know, like, and trust you, the better it's going to be for the deals you bring to them, and it is to raise capital. Jason and I met in the Cardone group, but the first time we met, we didn't do a deal together. Like, we got along, we connected. I now know Jason's wife. Jason's wife
He
knows.
wasn't, by the way, he wasn't 6 years old when this happened, so
No,
he
no,
was older
no.
than that. So
Yeah. And they know my father, Bob. If anyone has met Bob, they know Matt now. Like, we're all close knit. We're running a property together, an RV park. But the first time I met Jason, we didn't immediately do a deal together. So what I'm saying is the credibility comes from showing up consistently over time too. And you have to be able to um, not only present yourself in a good way, that you're knowledgeable, that you're someone that people want to be partnered with, trust you with your money, or that you want to put your capital with, but you also just have to keep presenting good deals. Like, if I bring Jason 5 or 6, you know, bad deals or holes in the numbers. I know, Jason, you mentioned Tim was doing underwriting. Like, if I had a bunch of holes in my numbers, it's probably going to be hard to get an investor that way. So when you're presenting these, like, you have to establish credibility immediately, especially now because a lot of people are going to be they're gun shy. Maybe they invested in a syndicate. We know people personally in groups we're in that are having deals go back to the bank. Good people that we know, like, and trust even. But if you don't stress test, if you're not accounting for cap rates and, well, worst case scenario, like, what if we have another black swan of it? What if this war escalates? What if the economic pressure is just too much, and the market collapses again? All this debt comes due, and they're not actually able to refinance. You have to be able to be comfortable buying real estate that doesn't have great returns for a few years. And if you don't give yourself a cushion in your underwriting, and an investor, a lender, even the broker or seller sees what your numbers are like, and that then they're wrong, you're not going to raise capital. So what I'm getting at is, it's very important right now to make sure all of these numbers are I's are dotted, T's are crossed, everything, because that ties into your credibility in the space. I wouldn't be doing the types of deals I'm doing with Matt even early on if I didn't show him that I'm a student of the game, wanting to learn something new every day, wanting to get better. Even, like, I'm learning new acronyms every day. My goal in the space for everybody, regardless of how long you've been doing this, what your age is, how much real estate you own, if you're on this call now and if you're on other calls, you very obviously want to, at a minimum, be connected with other people in the community. But most importantly, and probably second here too, is you want to continue to learn and adapt and grow your portfolio and your strategies. And everyone's gonna have a little bit different strategy, but this is important. Those two things. So if you're learning something new every day, you're gonna be speaking the language and staying relevant and staying current as new markets and new cycles unfold. So For us, this leads into a lot of times with our capital raising. Now that you've established credibility, right? The lenders trust you, your underwriting's in place. Maybe you have some soft commitments from investors. You have maybe a team put together. Jason and I, we have a joint venture, so it's a little different than your normal GP/LP structure. We all own it together, um, and we still are able to get a mortgage. It doesn't matter how your structure is; you can still go to a bank and get debt. So when these banks trust you, when these lenders trust you, the most important thing is you need to be able to negotiate terms. Always remember everything is negotiable, especially in this space. Whenever you're buying large, very expensive products, pieces of real estate, even cars, when you go to buy a car at a dealership, although it's not a great investment, I'm a used car guy myself personally, but if you go to a dealership and you go and buy a car, every time you don't just look at the tag and go, all right, this is the MSRP. I guess this is what it costs. I guess it's $50,000 for this SUV. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to go and you're going to sit down. They're going to compare your credit report, compare all these different variables that are in place, and they're going to say, okay, like you're going to negotiate. And if you're a bad negotiator, you're not going to get a good deal. And if you're a good negotiator, you're always going to have an angle to work to get a better price to a point where whoever's selling the product, the end goal should always be a win-win. Lenders want to get money off of their books, and they do that by giving us mortgages to buy these properties. They become one of the biggest realizations I've had over the past 18 months, especially working more with lenders and less seller financing deals, is they are your partner. We have to stop treating them as if they are a competitor or the enemy. Like the brokers and the mortgage and the debt brokers and the mortgage companies and the lenders, they want to partner with you long term. And if that's why they're going to underwrite you aggressively. So constantly negotiate terms, even with lenders. If they say, hey, like, we can only give you 65% LTV. This is the soft quote debt matrix quote matrix that came back. Sorry. Okay. Well, you're going to want to understand what all of their terms mean. And if you get a debt quote matrix back and you don't understand it, one, we'll do more classes like this. Like we talk about it on our Thursday calls. I'm sure Jason, recently you guys did debt structure too. Like you guys have to understand and be able to speak the language so that you can negotiate for your, it's not even just for yourself, but it's for your partners. It's for the safety of the deal because you don't want to overpay for this and you want to get good terms and everything's
Yeah,
negotiable.
100.
Every time, and Jason could add on to this too. They're going through it right
Mm,
now in St. Louis, but every time you get a quote matrix, say, yeah, I don't want this. I want an extra year of interest only. What does that do? What if I brought on another key partner to bring up the DSCR, which is the debt service coverage ratio, meaning you have more buying power if you have more liquidity brought into a deal, for example. And
yeah.
when you have,
So
yeah, go ahead.
no, I was just gonna say, I mean, everything that Jake has said so far, 100%. Like, like at Next Legacy Group,
Mhm.
we actually show investors like break-even analysis. We do a lot of this risk because that's what they're looking for, and that's really honestly, when we were raising capital, that's where most of our questions were driven on those slides that show how are you protecting my capital, not necessarily how much am I growing, right? And everything that Jake is saying actually has played out for us in this last deal. We've also had our debt guy on, Phil, a couple of weeks ago, maybe 2, 3 weeks ago, and he kind of explained a lot of this stuff too. So all this stuff that Jake is telling you guys is 100% accurate. We've had multiple people on kind of saying the same theme as well as when we went through the experience, all of this stuff is coming to fruition, and that's where investors truly are focused.
Yep. And like this goes back to like what's important right now. If it's hard to raise capital right now, it is. I'm telling you, it will get easier because when I was doing residential flips with my mom during COVID, it was very easy to get loans. It was very different. And that shifted very quickly. This is a new cycle. This is a new market. And that's okay. Like you just have to be able to put the right plan in place. And that isn't underrated, but having a negotiation with the lenders is extremely important because that could be the difference of you being able to refinance early or not. For example, I'm always going to work to try and remove that prepayment penalty. Okay, well, what if I did a 7-year term, brought in another key partner for more strength, and more liquidity, and you give us less of a prepayment penalty? What if I don't do a 3-3-3, 2-2-2, 1-1-1 step down, but we just did a three, even a 3-2-1 could be significant on some of these bigger deals. Like that could be, just think about 1% on if you got Jason, what's the purchase price of St. Louis?
It's 14.9 million.
Yeah, so $140,000 is significant.
Yes.
Like that's
A
1%.
0.5% is a massive change to the deal. In fact, it actually impacts the deal.
Yep.
So
So
those percentage changes are huge.
yep. And for anyone who's a little bit more green here and doesn't know what I mean by the 3-3, there's what's called a prepayment penalty. That's a step down over the length of your term of these debt quotes. So, for example, if you get a 5-year term on your mortgage, or a 7-year term, or a 10, there's going to be a prepayment penalty if you try to refinance or just completely exit the property early. Now, all of that is negotiable. You could say, hey, like, would you give me a 3-3-2-2-2 if you have a plan to exit or refinance in 3 years? Just to go from a 3% to a 2% is significant. I always try to push because our Matt and I are young in this space. We are not using this to retire. We want to have this portfolio built out to give to our kids and grandkids. So we're going to push for as many years of interest only as possible, bring the rates down so that our investors are going to get these higher interest only upside with the deals we're buying because we have more available cash flow. Because we like to buy 7-year terms instead of 3 years or 5, we're going to be in a position to refinance whenever we want because interest only, I'm going to ask for more interest only as much as we can get. And I'm going to try to get that prepayment penalty step down lower so that we have the flexibility to refi whenever we feel like it or whenever the market shifts. So, um, and it might be something as simple as like, hey, like, could you give us 76% loan to value instead of 75? That can make a difference too. So you have to understand every aspect of that debt quote matrix. And, if there's any lenders on the call, sorry, but I'm sure y'all could probably even back me up. But I have never seen a soft quote ever. I've been doing this full time for 4.5 years. I've never seen a soft quote come back that was the same when I was closing. There's always like a little fee, or they find something and go, oh, well, we're gonna do a 25-year AM instead of 30, or we can't do 3 years IO, well, we could do two, or oh, we're actually gonna add a fee on because you guys are doing a fixed rate instead of floating. So I hate that we can't be honest in this industry often. But everyone's competing for your business and they're going to put their best foot forward to get you to choose their quote. And unfortunately, that means that you also have to account for that these debt terms are going to be different, which is why it's so important to change that. That you will raise more capital by negotiating this. And I always say that even after you have the deal, I'm this is just me. Some people are it's very daunting to raise capital. Even though it's hard, we have not raised capital for any deal, even if it's gone down to the wire. So for me, I'm like, I want to make sure my debt is established first because I'm not going to raise money from people and start collecting it and put it in cash flow portal if I don't have my debt secured. If I'm using debt, if I'm buying in cash or seller financing, this is obviously different. But even that, you want your seller financing terms worked out as well. So put yourself in a position to win by negotiating debt and really putting yourself in a good position. You will raise more money if you do a good job negotiating debt. And if you have better debt terms, you will have an easier time raising capital because you have to separate yourself from the other deals that are being, there's not many, and a lot of them aren't good. But if you're buying right now from a truly motivated seller, this is the worst time to sell anything in at least since I've been alive. Um, but you cannot put yourself in a position where you're overpaying right now because there are a lot of desperate sellers, which means that you have an opportunity to get good debt if you negotiate it correctly and you're not competing with a lot. When this market turns, even though capital will become more accessible, all the people that are on the sidelines that already own a lot of real estate, you're going to be competing with them and it's going to be a lot harder for brokers to take your call. So how do you overcome that? Know your numbers, know the lingo, practice now. This is a great time to practice because brokers aren't getting 50, 60 calls on a day on a specific deal. They're probably getting 20 to 40. So I think that's really
Real,
important and not
yeah,
talking.
real quick. You got a question in here. Steve wants to know, can you explain the 333 again?
Yeah. So prepayment uh penalty is applied to if you refinance or let's try you try to exit a property early. It's something that the lenders will put in place. My opinion, it's just made up because they can to collect more money. I'm sure there's some type of hard dollar cost to move capital from wherever it's sitting, wherever they sold it, whatever they sold it off to. So I'm sure there is a cost to bring that and allocate it and give it back to you or refinance it. But ultimately, it's not worth whatever 3%, 2%, 1%. Sometimes it's 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And basically it's just whatever the cost of the loan is what the prepayment penalty is going to be. Is that helpful? Does that make sense?
Does that answer your question, Steve?
Yes, it did. Thank you very much.
Good, good, good. Okay, good. Um, so this is I mentioned this. This is kind of talking about timing. Things are going to change. Um, what we do is we take all of our data, all of our emails, we dump it into a folder. We use different we'll have our analysts, they'll use Claude, they'll use whatever they need, and all of the data we're pulling together, I'm sharing with you guys right now. So market timing is important. I'm talking about it right now. Um, it's to raise capital, you also have to be buying deals that you've done your research on. You need to know where the data centers are moving into if you're buying in Texas. Not a lot of people know this, but South Carolina is booming right now. Everyone talks about Florida and Texas and Arizona's got a lot of good growth. North Carolina's got good growth. But South Carolina is very quietly absorbing a lot of migration from New York and New Jersey. I'm from New Jersey. My mother moved from New Jersey to South Carolina. It's a more desirable place to live. A lot of things are changing. Things are being built. Construction's going in. When you are following those migration patterns and then clearly expressing that vehicle, that is another key point to make when you're raising capital. Say, hey, this market's not going anywhere for the next 10 years. Greenville, South Carolina is going to have a ton of growth. There's military bases, there's nuclear facilities, there's factories moving in, there's data centers moving in. People are moving there because the weather's better. All of these things play a factor. It's a lot more lenient on real estate politics. Like if you want to be a landlord there, it's more friendly. There's all these different variables in these different states that you have to take into account, understand it, and be able to conceptualize this and articulate it to potential investors. If you're not talking about the location and selling, because right now a lot of people are skittish on performance. All the numbers are a little bit fluffy. They're good projections, but if you're not using real in-place numbers and also talking about the upside of where people are moving, because at the end of the day, it's a numbers problem. If people are not there, if it has negative net migration, it's going to be a struggle to buy product there. Now, if you live there and you have a very specific plan, take not everything I'm saying is an absolute because there's so many different scenarios and variables. And there's people on this call that I'm sure are more value add and construction based, where they're comfortable going into a market they know, like, and trust. They live near it and buying it and gutting it out because they have those resources and those capabilities to do that in-house, and it makes sense. But ultimately, you want to follow and understand these migration patterns and sell that along with the vehicle of the product that you're raising capital for. And don't be afraid of rejection. Some people are gonna say, "Yeah, this is great. I like your population trends. I like the growth. I like all of this." But it, like it's just it's harder now. Like you have to articulate that you know more than other people that are raising this market. So that kind of is what I just mentioned. It's a good segue actually, because I'm talking about value add to the old strategy, and this is true. Like you used to just buy it. There's so many different methods out there. People would buy it, flip it, hold on to it, and just refi out. Right now, even if that is the plan long term, to get capital, you need to really ensure that the investor's capital is safe right now. A lot of people got burned really bad during COVID. Hopefully, no one on this call, but we know a lot of people that bought product in good areas. Round Rock, Texas, beautiful neighborhood in um, outside of Austin in Texas. And there's people that were buying properties there and they lost them. I mean, Matt knows a lot of people out there. He's from there, and we have opportunities to buy a lot of these deals out there now because even in a desirable area with rent growth, if you can't protect not only your capital, your investor capital, and the tenant base that are in place there, you're going to lose it. So your strategy has to mean that you have to pitch that, hey, if we get stuck holding this, this is a great piece of real estate to own if we can't sell right now. I mean, Grant Cardone talks about it all the time. People want to refinance, they want to get out right away, but he owns a desirable asset that isn't going to lose value overnight in a good city. So you want to make sure you feel safe with the asset you're investing into. So it's not just the numbers, but it's like, hey, like this is a 1985 product. It's not going anywhere. Versus if I pitched to you a 1945 deal, you'd be like, well, what's the plumbing look like? What are I mean, you could change all of the exteriors and the kitchens, and it's like, did you redo the cast iron piping and all that stuff that's going to be 70 plus years old? Probably not. So you're also selling on like, well, what do I want to own this if I get stuck with this for 10 years? Are my investors safe? Am I safe? And if you can't portray that confidence to the asset you're buying, then just buy something else. There's no shortage of deals, even in a time when people are not selling. But that means you have to also put into your investors, into your lenders' minds, because the lenders are going to vet you too. They're going to be like, I don't trust this area. And if they do still give you money, it's going to be lower terms. You have to pitch these lenders and sell yourself and your team and the asset itself as much as you are to raising capital. They're going to go hand in hand right now. And if you could pick up good assets right now, it's going to make a huge difference long term. I promise you. Because there's not a lot of competition right now. And if you own assets now, this window's closing. In my opinion, I don't know. Jason could probably add on to this, but less than a year before, like if debt comes down, the floodgates are going to open up. People are going to start buying again. Debt's still coming due. Either way, either a lot of people are going to be buying again, or the rates aren't going to come down, and then all these properties are not going to be able to refinance. The numbers are still going to be negative, and it's going to be an opportunity for a lot of people to buy still. So, I say all that, I could talk about how you could just be more realistic on what you're pitching. Like, do I think the RV park we own in Arkansas is going to make 12 to 15% on day? Yes. But I'm not going to tell Jason that we're going to make 15% by the end of year one.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
You said 15%. Wait.
So I did you got a distribution, right, from us recently?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, you got
I did. I did.
um but which is, by the way, a really cool feeling to do a distribution, especially to a partner that you like working with and a joint venture that you're a part of. It's like, yeah, that's an awesome feeling. You work really hard, you find an asset, we put the money together, we're running the park, and to be able to do a distribution as soon as the bank allowed us to is cool. That feels really good. Um, but anyway, um, just be realistic, just be honest. And if you can't talk about a deal and still feel good about it, then just go to another one. Do not fall in love with these deals. I read a quote the other day. I'm gonna see if I could find it in my notes here. Um, I'm really learning a lot about Trammell Crow right now. It's worth me finding this, but um, actually Sam Zell said this, but Trammell Crow and Sam Zell have been doing a deep dive on these guys recently, but he mentioned that sentimentality about an asset leads to a lack of discipline. This happens so many times on our Thursday calls. We'll talk about the same deal week in, week out, but if the deal doesn't make sense, the deal should be getting better as investors are asking you questions, not worse. You should be able to overcome oh wow, that's cool. Oh wow. We have the opportunity to expand on 23 acres of an RV park. That's awesome. There's only 65 pads in place. When we during due diligence, we found a road that has a secret path of this is a true story of almost 20 extra unaccounted for RV pads that are just brushed over in the woods. It's like, okay, that's a cool story. That adds to this. That's a ton of value that we're getting that we didn't even know existed. So you it should be getting better the more questions are asked. Oh, that's cool. You found more pads. Oh, that's cool. There's a data center already being built. It's not just in talks. And if you don't have that, I mean, that's a problem.
You also have you're running a Mondani special too, right? Like
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we are. Yeah, so everyone gets what is it, the first month free there?
first month free,
First
Mondani
month free.
specials. Come on
Yeah.
down. Leave
So
New York.
exactly. Yeah, I left New Jersey. So
Me
sold our
too.
student housing for Rutgers. Oh yeah, Jason's a Jersey guy too. Sold our
Cool.
student housing for Rutgers and we were out.
Hmm.
But I say all this because it should get better, and if it doesn't, just drop it. Just drop it. We were doing a deal in Atlanta, two partners of ours that also own real estate with us in Texas, apartment complex. We're going to buy a similar product. She had just moved down to Atlanta, wanted to be in the area more. We found a good deal, put it under contract in February or March this year. Went through due diligence. The numbers didn't get better. They actually got worse. We found out they weren't being honest about the tax bill and didn't want to negotiate. And that's a recurring expense. You can't just say, oops, I overshot the $26,000 bill by 10 grand. Uh, it was supposed to be 16,000 in taxes. It's 26. Well, okay, divide that out. That's over $100,000 of value to the property because that's a recurring expense. And they said, sorry, this is our price. Well, that's not good. Okay, let's go through our due diligence. Let's spend money on a third party inspection. Oh, there's $45,000 of damage to the all of the decks on the second floors. Okay. No, we can't get credit for that either. Just walk. Just walk away from the deal. We got our money back. We said, you know what? That's fine. That's $200,000 of value on a $2 million asset. That's 10% value. That's the difference between our investors being safe in a bad market and walking. So just drop it. And if that's the only deal you're looking at, that is a problem. That is the problem. Because you should not be attached. This isn't like a marriage. Like when you get married, that is your partner. You should only have, in my opinion, I'm not, I don't mean to speak for anybody. I think you should only have one partner. But I'm also a Christian, so maybe that lens is different. But anyway, um, that is not the case with these deals. You should be looking at as many of them as possible. Deals, not you know,
Not partners.
not
Gotcha.
partners, but
I think
deals.
we're following.
Yeah,
Remember the best deal you ever have is the deal that you walked away from, right?
exactly. And a there's something called I have a master's degree in psychology, and there's something called the sunken cost fallacy. You guys can look this up. Let's say you're playing blackjack, sitting at a casino, and you lose the first few rounds, and you want to keep doubling down because, well, I'm already sitting here, I've already put money in. I can win it all back if I keep doubling down. As I can save this property because I spent money on this. But it's fine. It'll save you a $5,000 expense, a $3,000 expense, even a $10,000 expense that will hurt. But it could save you from $1 million+ mistake. And if you are attached to these deals, he who cares the least wins the most. And if you are attached to these deals, you will make mistakes and it will be bad for you, for your investors. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. It's okay. Most deals do not work. When you're underwriting, you're not doing it wrong. We have 3 analysts at our company because I got frustrated at looking at 80% of the 100% of deals I looked at not working. So I hired a couple guys who are very sharp, and they now help us with some of the underwriting because most of the deals do not work. And when they find one that does work, or if I find one that does work, or Matt brings me a deal that potentially could work and I underwrite it and or they underwrite it and it makes sense, then we pursue it. And each step of the way, if it doesn't work, we drop it and go to the next one. It's fine. There are so many deals. Everything should be abundant in this space. There are accounted for 350 plus million people in America. My hunch is more. And if that is the case, then there's no shortage of everyone, for the most part, needs a place to live, and you shouldn't be deterred from that. So if there's that many people that need a place to live, you will not have a shortage of deal flow. And if you do, you don't have enough connections in the space. I'm being hard on you guys tonight. I'm being tough because I'm telling you the reality. The deal flow, understanding it, and take each step piece by piece. We talk about this all the time on Thursday calls. We are literally looking at 75 deals a week. Does that mean we're spending an hour plugging them into the Excel sheets and stuff? No, but brokers should be calling you. They should be sending you off-market deals. You should be getting email blasts. You should be looking on Crexy, CoStar, LoopNet. And you don't have to look at 75. Matt and I do this full time, both of us, full time, all day. You don't have to be doing that. But my opinion is you should be looking at 5 deals a week, even if you're working in a W-2 or in another space. It takes 10 minutes to do napkin underwriting to find out if something piques your interest. That's less than an hour a week. And I bet you if y'all went onto your iPhones or whatever screen time you have, if you have an Android, and you check your screen time, your Facebook, and I'm not immune to this too. I spend time on social medias, on LinkedIn, answering people, getting stuck in chats on what some of these brokerages put on LinkedIn after I put up a post or whatever. But if your screen time is higher on Facebook or on Netflix or on things like than it is on an hour of underwriting a week, you're not doing yourself a favor because the effort doesn't stop once you get a deal under contract. Like these deals take
Yeah.
work and they're extremely rewarding and they're extremely worth it.
Yeah. And it's very possible to
Yep.
have a W-2 and you can spend more than an hour. I know I spend more than an hour.
Yep.
Even before I got involved in Next Legacy Group, I probably looked at 200 plus deals.
Yep. Yep. And Jason, how many hours a week are you working now?
My W-2, probably 50 to 60 hours.
50 to 60. And you also have a family at home too.
I do, and I also probably put another 30 to 40 into the real estate.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And you're in great shape, so I know you're running and lifting still. So
I do not run at all. Establish I don't run. Running's for young people. Old
Yeah,
people just lift weights.
yeah, yeah. So I say all this. I'm being tough on a Friday night, like, but I really tr and Jason knows this too. Matt and I just want to help, truly, and I'm just being honest. And you're going to raise more capital if you understand the language, the underwriting, talking to brokers, getting more people in, and like just showing up. Just show up consistently. So, I talked for a lot. I'm going to stop sharing. I'll
Yeah,
do a
let's
couple
put it
of
out there for some questions. Look, I love this pitch that Jake has done. Everything that Jake has said, I promise you, myself, Tim, Teresa, Laura, we can all validate that what he's saying is true. Even the fact when I go back and look at our pitch decks, we talk about this stuff specifically. We talk about the migration. We talk about the city, the opportunity for working. We talk about how we try and protect your capital. We talk about what the area looks like from a projection standpoint, right? A lot of our deck really focuses on that. It really focuses on how can I protect your capital. We obviously talk about the returns in there, but the focus really has been protecting folks' capital and making sure that, hey, if you're going to give me $100,000, I'm going to make sure that I don't lose your $100,000. And on top of that, I'm going to give you some returns, right? So it's really that's the direction when it comes to capital raising nowadays. And to Jake's point, is will eventually shift where people throwing money at you. But at the same time, you're also going to hit a ton of competition, right? Because if they're throwing money at you, they're throwing money at everybody else.
Yep, yep. And it's, it will get easier to raise capital. I'm saying this like these are little things. These are the 1% things that will make a difference right now. You should still do them when it changes. Like don't
Right.
stop negotiating debt just because it's going to get easier and you own property. Like keep doing this. Like always push.
So
Uh,
Kevin has a
yeah,
question. We'll start with Kevin here. No unicorn though. I'm a little disappointed.
yeah.
And you're on mute.
I know I am. I fell asleep waiting for Jake to stop talking. My God. My unicorn went to sleep too, man. Checked out. No. Uh, but thank you. And thank you all for putting this on. Jake, thanks so much for coming on. Um, it's a weird place in my mind because I came into Grant's ecosystem in December, had been pondering, never executing, jumping into multifamily for about a year now. And all the excitement, and of course, that drives sales funnels all over the place. But now that excitement is it's a pause because, we talk about value add. Well, that's not flipping people's switch right now because obviously we're talking about restriction or retraction in rents and all these different markets. And, we could talk about Miami still booming, but everybody's backyard and different pockets and market. So I guess my query, and I guess it's perplexing because when I look at fundraising or capital raising, and we Grant Cardone talks about find the deal then find the money. Well, we all know you better be poised, right? You've got to be ready with that. And so many people get excited, and that's fine. But the reality is, you hit that wall. The reality is, right now, even the big boys are having trouble raising capital. So we should know that if we're a half a student to the game, right? But the other side of that is what's happening to the holders, the people who are falling off. It's just a weird market, which is great. We know that's where money is made. So for someone who's coming in new, and for example, there's all these wolves out there, and I'll give you an example. I set up this little Sunday afternoon call for the Midwest market, just because everything's south of the Mason-Dixon with a lot of our communities. So I figured, if we've got people shopping in the Midwest in their backyard, let's have that conversation here. And I've invited people from outside of any community, just people. And immediately they want to come in and start puking. They want to build fundraising. They want to raise money, right? Because everyone wants to. And then I also hear of people starting funds of funds and all this stuff like that, and they have zero credibility. It's almost sad to watch some of these folks go at it, like, oh, I'm just going to go raise a bunch of money. I'm going to be a syndicator, blah, blah, blah. And the reality is, what you're speaking to is you're destroying any potential credibility if you come in as a shaman, right? So I'm just wondering how we play that coming in as a new investor. It is then essential then for us to partner with and stick with someone who has that, because you talk about KPs and all that stuff. I mean, for the person who's coming in new, they've got to be attentive to this, but also this can be kind of scary. It basically says, man, I put all this work into finding a property. I'm not going to be able to fund it. So why do it? You see what I'm saying? I'm just talking about the complexity of it in my head. It really is kind of it's an intimidating factor, isn't it?
It is. It is. And if anyone can take away something from this is a great question, and just comment, Kevin, because this is the biggest reason why Matt and I had to start expanding these Thursday calls to our deal partner community, because there's not a lot of people who are going to go to even if it's just a little bit, just to be able to like CC us on an email for credibility. It makes a huge difference. It's like, yeah, this is the community I'm in, this is the capital, this is the KP I'm working with. That is extremely valuable to get control of these deals and also raise capital. There are a lot of people, and this goes back to the slide I had up about credibility, but when you're attached to different people in the space that are willing to help, that have the credibility, have the ownership, it makes that task a lot less daunting. And in my opinion, there's not really a lot of people out there doing this. I mean, I saw before, we're at 48 now. We had over 50 people on this call. We had probably some people drop off, probably at least 60 people on, which that's pretty good for a Friday night too. Like,
It's 2 weeks in a row,
yeah,
60 people. We're
yeah,
going.
yeah. And you're in a position where it's like that is daunting, but you have all these people that want to help or can help, or we can say, hey, like we could raise the capital here. Here's the KP. Like there's so many solutions to this. Is it easy? No. But like sometimes that's part of it, Kevin. It's like, yes, it's daunting, but the worst thing that happens, truly, everyone, if like this is the one thing, like forget the slideshow I just pitched. It's okay if you don't raise it. You got to try that. You will not raise the money if you do not try to raise the money. Like if you don't put yourself in a position to get control of a deal that makes sense, then there's no chance of achieving the goal that pretty much everyone in this space is here to do, which is to either buy real estate for the first time or add on to that and build that portfolio, scale it. Maybe some people want to exit it. And if you
Well,
aren't putting yourself in that position, it's gonna, it's okay. Like the worst thing that happens is you just don't raise it. Will you be able to do a deal with that broker or that seller again? Probably not. That's okay.
well, I think that gets back to, what's the best deal you ever did? The one you didn't do,
What are you
right?
gonna do? Right.
And this market, money will come to the right deal. And I think for people who are intimidated by the fundraising aspect of it, you're in a community or a subculture, you're in this culture where there are people who will partner with you with the right deal, right? You still got to hunt for the deal.
Yep.
Money is a scary thing if you think about it too much, but you still have to be thinking about it. You can't
Yep.
ignore it.
Of course. Of
But
course.
this is going to hold you even more to the task to find the right deal.
Yeah.
So if you're shopping B market, C, whatever, you better sell that. And as I say, it's got to be sexy on the back end.
Exactly.
Because that's how you're going to attract your investors.
Yep. And Kevin, there's even a deal that I'm working on right now with Matt and one of our RV park partners. And Jason and I have talked about it. I actually
Yeah.
went to Jason
This
But
is actually a quite sexy deal. I will tell you that.
it is, it is, yeah, it is. But we found a deal that is, Kevin, you don't have your unicorn background, so this doesn't really land the same. But this was my unicorn
Oh,
deal for the deal for the year. So if anyone has seen Kevin's background, this joke is way funnier. But this was our unicorn deal, and we had a great guy who we know, like, and trust. Unfortunately, went not
There
I
it is.
not just Jason, but he was this isn't Jason, another guy. He unfortunately is going through a very personal thing that was unexpected, and he can no longer like distribute assets until this thing is sorted out. Very unexpected. So we reached out to Jason. We're like, hey, like, we had this portion of the capital raised from this joint venture. It was 600,000. And we said, hey, like, this is a deal that we're going to get somewhere between projected 11 and 12%, like immediately as soon as we buy it. It's a guy that had a bridge loan come due. He got stuck. It was completely off market. Our partner Weston knows the broker who knows the owner. We took it to market. We're saving them. We have the debt in place. Everything's done. And we're still solving that even right now. So I say that, Kevin, that it's not there it is. There's the background. Thank you. I say that because even I'm doing this all day long. And it's been, I don't know, maybe a week or two since this happened, maybe 2 weeks, Jason, I think. But we still haven't found the solution yet to replace that partner. And maybe it can be done on this call, maybe not. But the point is everybody knows somebody in a space, and like I don't have all the answers. Matt doesn't have all, Jason doesn't have all the answers, but we're still putting ourselves in a position to buy this property, and we're just going to figure it out. And everything that we get under contract and pursue, we believe in it. It's really, in our opinion, safe investments to have. But it's like, okay, well, let's figure out how to raise 600,000 in 20 days. Done. So I don't have the answer yet, but I know we'll find it. So I use that as an example to say, like, I'm here now. Like, hey, does anyone like RV parks in Texas? Does anyone like 11 to 12% cash on cash return? This will be the best deal that we find for the rest of 2026. But the point is it's just takes work and time and resources and putting yourself in positions. Like I'm in a position where, and Jason's a partner of ours and he knows I'm not doing this selfishly, but I'm going to plug this if we need to raise the money. And that's part of this whole process too, is like, hey, like, let's just take each day piece by piece and figure out where the money's going to come from. And most importantly, we have control of the deal, right? Like I can't talk about this if we don't have it. Otherwise, you're just making small talk. Oh, I have this deal I underwrote. I really like it. Okay. Like let's get to a point where we're actually in a position where we're feet to the fire. You have to raise this capital. We believe in it so much. We have $50,000 hard, not refundable. We had an out and we still decided to pursue it because we believe in finding a solution. Anyway,
That's awesome. Great question.
yeah, I was.
Uh,
Thank you, Kevin. Good job,
Carol.
Carol and her.
Yeah, Carol's up in the
Yeah.
dog too. Which one's asking the question? You're on mute. You're talking.
Mute myself. There we go.
There you go.
Okay, so let's say I'm like, who is this, Ashley? And I found a deal. I've done my best to underwrite it as best I can, and I genuinely think, it's a good deal, fitting a lot of the criteria that you just presented. We're doing conservative underwriting, and so yeah, I want to raise money for my deal. I understand that the more I go in these groups and talk to people about my good deal, that probably would help me raise money for the deal if it's a good deal and I can communicate that. But any other ideas about raising capital for your deal, that any other ideas?
Yeah. Any other ideas? Well, I have an okay. I mean, it's going to continue to grow, but I have an okay presence on LinkedIn.
Okay.
I'm connected. I am very biased on LinkedIn. I think LinkedIn for our industry is
Is the
the best
ticket.
space. Like if we're doing, if we had a consumer product, that's TikTok Shop. Like that's your space for that. If you were
Right.
landscaping, and you want to run ads on Facebook, great spot. I believe that the more credibility you have on LinkedIn in our commercial real estate industry, that's where all the brokers are. That's where all the fund of funds people are. Our community's on there. I have almost 2,000 followers and connections, which for LinkedIn, that's pretty solid. And I look at that, I'm like, that's continue to grow. You can raise a lot of money from there too. Tony, you
Okay.
unmuted, sir. There you go. And you can continue to grow off of that.
Okay.
And
Okay.
I don't think you need to have 2,000 followers on LinkedIn, but what's going to happen is someone's going to talk to you, they're going to get off and they're going to type in Carol E. Windsor. And if you have a bunch of
You're
LinkedIn,
going to find out I'm a therapist.
yeah, exactly.
So that's a whole other
And we got 50 people
deal.
on here. Everybody should go to everybody's LinkedIn and
I'll
basically start following them and drive
I'll
up
plug it
there,
again.
drive them
Okay.
up.
I do have one other question for you, real quickly. So there's this guy, shoot, what was he called? He's called the Deal Room Team. And so I attended some meeting that they had. And
Tuesday
he had,
night
when was it?
is the deal room.
Yeah,
Oh,
the Deal
it's
Room.
Gascoon, they're friends of
And
ours
Yeah,
too.
so he was
Yeah.
on a
was
couple. He
last,
was on. He was on
that
last
was,
week here. Joe was on last week here,
oh, okay.
or 2 weeks ago. Sorry.
Yeah, on a Tuesday.
Hmm.
Anyway, they did a whole AI thing. Um, and I found that really interesting because you're spending, I'm hearing you're spending all this time and, yeah, I'm starting to look at deals and, I'm a very busy person, how much I have. So, I mean, they seem to have a way to weed through some of these deals. I guess AI could help. I mean, what do you guys think about that?
Yeah.
Have you been thinking
100%.
about
Uh,
that?
Yeah, it's helpful. It's
100%.
useful, and you
Mhm.
can build out Claude or whatever AI model you use. We um we have analysts that some of their work is going to be replaced. We have one guy. He's taken he was an intern for us. He goes to Texas A&M, and he's graduating with his real estate degree. A big brokerage is going to pick him up in June or July, and it's great. It's phenomenal. So what I'm having him do is replace himself, and I have him just working through AI. That's going to be his role. I said, when you're done, like I need to have I need to have a
I
John
need to I need to have you cloned.
I need to have John here still for when you're gone. And it's
There
a
you
great
go.
opportunity for him, and he's going to make a huge salary up front instead of just commission. So
Right.
um, I'm having him use that. Is it valuable? Yes. Is it going to save you time? Yes. You should still verify it. Yes. This is like AI if everyone remembers when the first iPhone came out, that wasn't even that long ago. It was terrible. Now that we have new technology, we thought it was great, but it was super wonky. This will get better over the next 10 years.
Oh yeah. It's going fast. Okay. Well, that's
So
helpful.
it
So when
will
you do go on LinkedIn, let's say I
link.
can you go on LinkedIn and you post your deal on there, I guess.
Yeah.
And
Well,
some
You should
be
sort
set
of,
careful
up.
with
Yeah.
that. Yeah, be
Yeah.
careful with that.
Yeah.
oh,
Um,
because
Good
someone
publicity.
else will
you
Be
can't
careful
be.
post
listening.
that.
You want to be careful with that. Like, you don't want to start posting stuff out there.
Yeah.
You want to
I,
make sure you're following
Oh.
SEC rules, and you don't want to just.
Oh.
Yeah,
Oh,
you got
that's
to be
right.
careful.
Yeah.
Right.
no, I mean,
Okay.
I use LinkedIn for credibility. I talk
Correct.
about
Hmm.
things. A
Yeah.
lot, a lot of you guys see my newsletters that I put out every week. They're just big posts. Sometimes it's funny.
Mhm.
Right now, if you guys click on mine, today I put something up there. It's just a picture of I was driving past a cow when I was in Wyoming. It's a close up of this cow, and it's me talking about like how I'm using AI for something. And like
Okay.
I've done 300 posts like that over the past 300 days, 350 days. And
Sorry about that.
when people type in Carol, they want to see that you're a therapist that's a real estate investor. You can have other, like, if you guys go through my LinkedIn, you guys will also see that I run. I still run. I ran for Liberty University, and I'm in Olympic development, so I want to continue to run for Team USA. So when I'm not doing real estate for a couple hours in the morning, I'm running. But the point is, I don't talk.
There's a LinkedIn page right there.
Yeah.
So this is mine.
Okay. Okay. So okay. Well,
You see, these are the posts.
Yep.
So you just keep posting and posting
And,
all
and
kinds of
really
stuff.
just be top of mind. You want to be associated
Right.
with, okay, this is
You can also, all my stuff is automated. I don't actually post this. All this stuff gets posted for me. Like I've set it up so it posts by itself.
yep. And you can see all of your connections on the side too, on the right. Like I looked at
Mhm.
Jason's page recently. It should be on the right there, but like,
Yep.
okay.
hold on. Yeah, there's Matt looked at it. Yeah, exactly. This is the dream.
These are all the people that looked at my posts, right? Because they all
Go in
went
there.
into,
Yep.
yeah, they went in because I posted, Teresa said something.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so
So
Teresa
people
sent
just
this
end
out.
up contacting you, asking you what you're currently investing in,
Yeah.
and
It's
maybe
really to
outside of
generate
buying
contacts,
properties.
right? It's to generate contacts.
Mhm.
Okay. Okay. All right.
Yep.
Makes sense. I don't know. I don't know. LinkedIn just, yeah, I don't know.
It's
They're
But
all
odd.
scary. They're all
Work that
scary.
shouldn't make sense, but it does. But it's easy. Like you just go on there, you can put whatever, just be you.
I'm not reinventing the wheel. I'm going to take your own word for it. You know? Okay.
Cool. Is that helpful, Carol?
Absolutely. Thank you.
Great. I can do one more, Jason, if you want.
Yep. And then we have Sylvia.
Yep. Okay. All right.
Hi, all. I kind of have a commentary slash question, and I'm going to have to kind of out myself or put myself on blast over it. But so I started looking into commercial real estate probably about 4 or 5 years ago. I really didn't pick up any traction for the first 2 years, partly because of like what Kevin was saying. I'm underwriting deals and they're not penciling out. But even if they did, I didn't have the sources to capital raise or connect or have the right resources and find a KPI and a sponsor and all that. And I basically spent about a year just networking and not actually doing anything. And then in the past, and the concept of capital raising was like terrifying, unheard of, something I never thought I'd be doing. The last year and a half, I raised over 1.8 million. And that's without LinkedIn. That's just people I knew or reconnected with, or I posted something on Facebook and someone reached out that I haven't talked to in 20 years and asked about it. So there is a process, but you just have to kind of get over the whole mindset of, well, what if this doesn't work out? You just kind of got to throw yourself in and try.
Yep.
But to the point of it being difficult to capital raise, I'm now at the point where, okay, maybe I do need to change my LinkedIn. My LinkedIn says I'm a pharmacist. So to Carol's point, same thing. Like, I don't know how to transition into establishing the credibility that I need to continue to get new investors.
Did you raise money for a deal that you found, or you raised money for
other deals, but I made sure to partner with people that were established, people that have gone full cycle on several deals. One of my partners had gone full cycle on 18 deals, done 31 deals total. And they're all different assets. It was 3 different deals, completely different asset classes. Right now, I'm in an assisted living deal in Huntsville, Alabama. And I had good momentum raising in the beginning, but always those last couple $100K that we need kind of stuck.
Sylvia, I have a quick question for you. And this is just curiosity as much as anything else. Did you raise, now I'm nothing personal, did you raise that money because you were a pharmacist and it was inside of a community who respected you for that? That was your gravitas? Or are you just so awesome that everyone wanted to give you money?
No, there isn't a single pharmacist that invested with me. Some of them were people I networked with, fellow real estate investors.
Okay.
Some distant relatives or family that happen to trust me or know that I tend to pick good real estate deals. At least I did in single family. So I do have that history going for me. But single family, we know, doesn't quite translate into. One of my deals was a retail space, one was multifamily, and now this one's assisted living. So it doesn't translate into that, but at least.
Oh, it's convertible. I think it's convertible. Ask anybody here who's been in single family. A lot of convertible skills, a lot of stuff you can say about it, right? You got it. I say just change your, I'm just me, change your profile. You're wondering how to do it? Go in there and change it, right? Get AI to generate you something.
I think I'm
because
over it.
If the pharmacy thing isn't helping you build this business, go where it is, right? If that's what you're doing, right? Jake, am I right? I mean, does that sound right?
I mean, you want to establish credibility in what you're looking to do. Like I had a potential partnership opportunity that was offered to us, and the first thing we did is like you see like what the person's LinkedIn's like and their social medias and stuff, and it was confusing. They were like making like music or something, but like wanting to do what we were doing, and I was like, are you a musician? Are you like what? I don't understand what the objective is. Like what you want money from us to do this thing, but like I don't see anywhere online. You're not talking at all about what you're trying to partner with us on. That's confusing. So you don't have to not be a therapist to say, wait, I don't have to not be a professional runner. I don't have to not be a track runner. That can be part of your story and that makes all of us unique, but you need to very clearly establish like, oh, this guy is obviously in real estate.
We had brought a LinkedIn guy on here, gosh, a couple months ago. He completely changed my LinkedIn because I had my W-2 first. And I think that was very confusing for people. Wait, did you work in healthcare or do you work, what are you doing? And he's like, no, you got to wipe it all out. And both Tim and I had to, the same thing because both of us were working W-2s and that was our main focus. And then we realized we had to completely switch if this is the direction we were going. And so my W-2 is still in there, but it's kind of tucked away. So much so that my HR department reached out to me and asked me if I got a new job, right? Because they were actually checking my LinkedIn.
That's what I've been.
Yeah, no, they did. They reached out to me and they said, "Hey, did you quit?" I'm like, "No, I'm still here." Um, so, but what I saw happen, was I increased my LinkedIn by 109,000% when I changed it. And that was all from December all the way through April. And it was because of some small tweaks, some small changes, and then constantly being active and talking about real estate. The goal is to show people that you're knowledgeable about real estate. Now, I don't, whether this translates to investors or not, I don't know that I can validate that, but it does get you credibility. And like Jake said, like he went and looked this guy up before he went to go work with him. And he's like, oh, this guy isn't, why would I do this?
I like him.
Yeah, nice guy, right?
But like, I just want to understand that this is what they are living, breathing, and sleeping. Like, I'm not going to try and like put myself in a position to act like I know X or Y or Z if I like, because it's not gonna, it's the cream's gonna rise to the top, and if you don't know it, it's gonna be, people are gonna find that out. So, unless you guys want running advice, I can't coach you on anything other than real estate or running.
And we can bring LinkedIn people on here too to start talking about that.
Yeah, that would be great.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
All right, Travis, you're the last one. You're on mute if you're talking.
Thank you. I was
There
talking.
you go.
So regarding fees, this is kind of a totally off subject question, but if you wanted to so regarding capital raising, if you had an investor that wanted to get out of their investment or partially out of their investment,
Okay.
say they invested 300,000 and they want 100,000 back, there's fees involved, legal fees, stuff
Yeah.
like that. Does anybody have experience with that? Like
Um,
how to talk them through that?
well, are you looking to move it into the RV park that we're buying? No.
Yeah.
Um,
You should hit me up though.
yeah, maybe I'll send you a text after this. Um, anyway, um, I can't give legal advice on that. I can give you a quick anecdote, and then you can, you know, do with that information what you'd like. That's what I'll say.
Okay.
There was a scenario, and I don't know if Matthew's talked about this recently, but um, there was a guy that we knew invested in this deal. Um, the details don't matter because there might be some overlap, and he wanted out because he didn't really like how the returns were going, and he wanted to do more with his money. He didn't like that it was tied up. I won't say all, but I would say more often than not, there are partnerships that will allow you to replace the capital if you can bring someone else in. That is the easiest approach that I've heard of. Is if you want partial some of it out, maybe a refi got kicked down the road, maybe a sale got kicked down the road. The easiest way to go about that is to take someone and have them replace a piece of your what's called units in your subscription agreement or your operating agreement. Um, does that make sense?
Yeah, I was kind of looking more along the lines of, okay, what would it cost in addition to the penalties and taxes
Well,
getting?
what I'm getting at is not much if you do that because it's an even unit swap. If you go to just pull capital out, the it depends on what the subscription agreement says. I'm not giving like legal advice. You'll have to go through this with like an attorney or a CPA, but um when you go through those documents, this is a really good question, Travis, because this question does not come up often, and this is real. Like this happens.
Definitely
Um,
does.
well, yeah, so everyone really should understand this too, because you think it's not applicable to you until one day it is, either personally or maybe someone has a divorce and they have to get out. They need capital to be divided up. So unfortunately, these things happen. So um, it can be cheap if you take that approach, Travis, because you're essentially swapping it. Sometimes there's a penalty if you want to pull out your capital. It's very expensive, depending on what your subscription agreement says. It could be 40%. Like, okay, we'll give you your capital back, but this is meant to be a long-term investment, and we're going to keep 40,000 of it because we have it already invested into the property for working capital for reserves, because it's meant to do two things. One, deter you from doing that because that's very bad. If someone pulls out capital, because that essentially what you're doing is that like that comes out of either cash flow, if it's structured wrong, that can come out of what's sitting in there as working capital. Maybe it's spent and it could trigger a refinance or a sale because the capital needs to be returned. Um, if it's still a deal that's existing and it sounds like you potentially want to leave some capital in, if you need capital out, I would be pitching and talking to people, hey, like I have this situation where I would like this capital out. Does anybody want to replace me? Because if you ask to get it pulled out, it could be you could lose. I don't want to speak for everything. Like sometimes it's just not allowed, and that's part of your agreement. Sometimes it's you can pull it out, but you'll lose 40% of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
You
agreement
definitely
says
got
transfer fee and legal fees, but it doesn't specify how
You
much to expect
specify.
on it. Yeah.
Um, well, The legal fees, probably aren't that much. Could be, if I had to guess, I'm not, this is just me talking to you on experience. I've seen them between 10 and 15,000. Could be less. Maybe someone will do it for 5. A transfer fee, it could just be a made up fee. It could be 1% of the proceeds. It could be 40% of the proceeds. You'll have to ask, which is awkward.
Thanks.
But if it's, a small amount, maybe we can take a tour to Abilene together. There's a lot
Okay.
I'm just kidding. Maybe though. But anyway, that's a good question. Like everyone, I hope everyone's listening to that question because that happens way more often than you would think in this industry.
It definitely
Um,
happens.
Thank you, guys.
And in some cases, if you're on the opposite end, it actually works in your favor. So to what Jake was saying, I've bought in stuff investments at 50 cents on the dollar because someone needed out. They were getting a divorce, they needed out. It was like, okay, well, I'll buy it from you, but I'm only going to give
Yes.
you half.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe we'd buy it. Maybe Jason and I'll go and
Right. 50 cents on the dollar.
cents on the dollar, we'll do it.
Cool. Well,
Sylvia said real quick, Jason, does it
yep.
1031 work on our RV parks? Yes. Which is another reason why we do joint ventures a lot now on these smaller deals, is because everyone has an ownership. Like you actually have, like you get appreciation, you have ownership, equity on the sale. It's a lot easier to hit your equity multiple. Like we want to more than double Jason's money. That's our goal. And to do that, it's easier when you actually have ownership and you're not just a limited partner for a very small transaction like this, where it's like $3 million or less. Same thing with our RV park. It was under 2 million. So it's just an easier way to get that 2x return easier. Yes, the 1031 does work, and I'll put my email here for you guys too. But yeah, does that make sense for everyone?
Yep.
How much is needed? How much you need left?
We have 600K left.
I will ask.
Okay, perfect. I appreciate that. All
right.
I'm good. If you
Well, awesome.
Jason, I appreciate you having me on here. Always a lot of fun to connect.
Yeah, thank you for joining. Again, everything Jake said, 100% accurate. We will send out the information, the recording. It'll also most likely end up on our YouTube site. So you'll be able to watch it over and over and over again and just admire all the beautiful people that are on the call. Next week, the plan is to kind of do a grant style, bring your deal. And so if you have a deal you want to pitch or talk through or have us evaluate for you, send them over to us. So email it to myself or Tim or Teresa or Laura. And then we'll put our information in the chat and we will go through your deal. So we'll allow you to pitch it. We will comment on it, help you out with your pitch for your presentation. Again, a lot of the stuff that Jake talked about is what we do at Next Legacy Group. We really focus our pitches on protecting capital. So Teresa just popped it in there. Basically, it's all of our first names at nextlegacy.net. So feel free to shoot your deals over. And that's the plan next week. So it's really to culminate all the information that we've been going over for the last few months. And then we want you guys to put that in a deck and pitch it to us. So feel free to send that information over to us. And again, you'll be able to rewatch this. There'll be other ones out there that you can rewatch. Again, we've talked about debt. We've talked about capital raising. We've talked about pitching. All this stuff is out there. So again, fantastic information. Again, thank you, Jake. Thank you guys for joining us. Hope you all have a great weekend and see you all next week.
All right. Thank you,
All
guys.
right. Thank you.
Take care, guys.
Awesome.
Thank you.